Hi, my wonderful cosmic sister, cosmic wonder, all love, all good things, my precious one, right? So welcome, and I'm so happy to be here with you again. Welcome to all of you who are watching this. And today we have Wednesday, April 9th, in US and Europe. You are watching the Cosmic Sister Show with hosts Corinne and Anne. And today we are going to talk about authenticity meets compliance. And I think this
Ooh,
is it's touching our hearts actually, because it's connected
yes,
like everything else with everything around
everything. Mhm.
that's going on, right? So our last show on Cosmic Guardians with Cosmic Sisters was last Wednesday, April 2nd. And we talked about casual conversation and critical juncture. That was another juicy one. We don't have any boring topics, do we? No.
No, we don't.
And in case of, because we had some hiccups, I think the last two shows actually streamed well on Facebook, but there's a little problem sometimes. If I see that we're not up and running, I fix that after the show, and I'm going to provide everybody with a link where to find this streaming on YouTube because we are on YouTube as well. So you can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episodes, read articles, and much more. Find Kareen, of course, and myself at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians and episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. And I think 1st of July this year, Facebook is going to remove all past live shows. I don't know why they do. They do that for everybody, but they started in February, so we only have it streaming on Facebook for 30 days. Then
Mhm.
they remove it. But it's always up and running on YouTube. That's a good thing to know, right?
Yes.
So you can always find us there, and I'm going to start in a bit to share some things about that. Anyway, let's dive directly into today's topic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And um, every time that you send me ideas that we may have spoken about in passing, and you'll grab this and grab that, and I'll grab this and you grab that, and all of a sudden, here comes a list and a script for things that are probably topics that people think about or live through, but they never really think about them in the form of how and why and when. And what does it mean to be authentic? I mean, basically, when you are being drawn to be more authentic with yourself, you'll get these subtle changes in how you perceive life and sometimes not fitting in, or you start focusing on other things and something that doesn't really feel comfortable with your inner being. And these are ways that it is starting to say, okay, there's more to you than the world sees. So let's go on a little adventure and investigate these things. And I found that when this started happening with me, that I was drawn to focus on things that really felt true to myself, and not because someone had said them or society had said them, but because they felt good. And I find that authenticity emphasizes our accountability and being reliable and being consistent and having unconditional self-love. So how do you feel about that?
I agree with you. And first of all, I'm going to pop the good news. We are streaming on Facebook,
Oh,
as
yay!
we
Hello,
should.
Facebook. As
Yay!
we face, yes, yes,
Yeah, but we are. I put up the link there to YouTube also. It's good to have it there. Anyway,
right.
but no, I feel it's intriguing because we always talk about being authentic, our authentic self, right? And to find our authentic self, we need to go inwards. We don't need to look at
Absolutely.
and assumptions or whatever someone is telling us. We need to go in here because it actually simplifies life to be who you are. And I'm not talking, we never talk about having a bad attitude and think that, oh, I'm above everybody else or things of that nature. No. But being, when you really go into your authentic self, it's less complicated because you see things differently and you don't need, I'm not talking about breaking law and order here, right?
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about that common sense, but it's not the worldly common sense. It's the common sense that comes from your heart, from who you truly are. So
Yes.
it gets way easier, right?
Yes, it does. And um, working within yourself and then living in a world where everybody else is kind of doing their thing also. Um, as you said, these two can complement each other or they can be, a little conflict because to comply literally means to follow something either mostly blindly. It's like you will march for 7 minutes in the morning. You will have your report done by 8 o'clock, no questions. You will not take Friday off. You will, follow this. You will do this and order. We need order. We need some way for everybody that's coming from different ideas to say, okay, this is what we do to accomplish this. And
Yeah,
how do we be true to ourselves? Because we're always true to ourselves. We're not sacrificing our beliefs in order to comply to what is required to make this business run or to make the traffic run. So it's not a matter of my way or no way. It's a matter of saying, how do I fit into it and how can I be true to myself and still be able to follow the rules?
exactly. And it's kind of intriguing. And as a basis, going back to myself, because I always state that I am a stubborn person, and I am.
Oh
I'm trying
no.
to use that. No, 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 no. And I'm trying to use that and manifest it in my life in a very constructive way. That is, that there are so many things that we somehow, even though we don't like them, we do have to comply sometimes, right? To
Hmm.
things. But
Yes.
there are things that are expected of us. Now I'm talking more like unwritten rules and assumptions, expectations, things of that nature, right?
Right.
Because the big crowd is doing something in a certain way. No, we don't have to comply to anything of that nature, right? If we don't
No.
want to. Because we have our own way of doing things, and we talk a lot about that. So if I'm going to stubbornly trying to comply, doing something in a way that I know I'm not going to be able to do that because maybe because my lack of male strength, for instance, if it's a heavy job I need to do or something else, find my own way in life and doing it. So
Exactly.
we don't need to comply um like being just we have to follow and adapt to everything, right?
Correct. And I feel that when you really start becoming your authentic self, your true self, you come from a higher understanding. Um, when you have self love and when you start taking away the conditions of why you love yourself. You don't love yourself because you have a good hair day. You don't love yourself because you're driving this particular car. You love yourself because of the intrinsic values that you hold true. And when we are blending with society, I think coming from that higher place of love and understanding, then we understand that in order for this particular, let's say a business, and every place you go will have its list of compliances. You have to wear a uniform, you have to be here at 10 minutes before it starts and so forth. That's compliance. And those things, to make that business run, you look at them, and if you see, okay, I can comply to each one of these things. And then it says on, and everybody that doesn't look like you, we're going to be mean to. And that's one of their compliances. And you go, okay, I can't live with that. I'm going to have to find a
No,
different place to be. So we
exactly.
have that discernment to realize that these are reasonable for that company to function that way. So I can follow their guidelines without it conflicting with what I am. And there again, we have that choice after, because every place you go, if you go down to get your driver's license, they have a list of compliances. You will drive on this side of the road, you will, stop when you see a red light. These are actually compliances. And you go, okay, I can live with all of those. That's okay, because I really want everybody else to be living with them too, so I don't get run over. So finding how to do it, you can still be true to yourself. There are going to be times, though, when you're faced with something that you are not in good conscience able to deal, and but that these are just incidences. These are not
Yeah.
just living in society.
I think that one could actually say that authenticity that meets compliance is conscious choices also
That's
around
absolutely
all matters, right? Because like
good.
to make an example, if um, I'm an employee somewhere, they will have a lot of compliances,
Hmm.
right?
Yes,
Rules and things that they want everybody to follow. Um, well, I when I signed the contract to become an employee, that means also if I don't feel that I can accomplish or do that, even though I in this world we need to support ourselves, so that sometimes comes to a clash for people, right?
correct.
But it is an agreement, and I'm doing it consciously, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes if it feels like it's too big of a gap, it goes against me. Maybe I should try to find another job instead because we have an agreement, right?
Yes. And I am working with one of my students, and he has very dutifully performed excellent in the 20 years that he's been with this company. And and the compliance to what they required and how they wanted to run their business, everything was running well. But in the last few years, when certain age groups come in and they don't feel that that applies to them, and then they start causing a ruckus, and the company breaks its own compliance to pacify this person. Now, to him, he has been doing everything that they ask him to do, and everything has been running. When they allow this person to not follow what they had told him he was supposed to follow, then that really disrupts everything. And that's been a little bit of a conflict for him, because this is how you wanted me to do it, and we do it with 90% of all the people, and then 10% of the people can do whatever they want to do. So there's a certain order to having that kind of an order, and it wasn't conflicting with his authenticity until they started breaking their own rules for certain people.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that double standard, we're always dealing with the double standard. And so he's having to work around a new dynamic in in the workplace, and this is what life is all about: is how do you how do you perceive something that needs to be done? Is it flight, fight, or figure out a subtle way to do it? How do you keep your integrity and still be of service? And we're dealing
Yeah,
with it every moment of our life. It's
we do. But when a company, they go against their own rules and compliance, right?
right.
And they allow small amount of people, right?
Hmm.
Out of 100 people, they allow five
Yes,
to do it differently. That's going to have the ripple effect on everybody else, right?
it really does. It really does. And it so compliance in the workplace is there to help everybody kind of understand what is expected of them. And in that application, this is a good thing because that you need to have your shirt buttoned up to here. That you need to be there on time. That the meetings are mandatory. So it allows the company to flow and be productive because they're not constantly saying, okay, well, today the button can be a number 3, and tomorrow, and that causes confusion. So
It does cause confusion, but at the same time, then when a company allows
yeah,
a few people to do things differently that are heavily affecting others,
it does.
they are just assuming that all the others are going to adapt.
Exactly. But there again, what do you adapt to? And so compliance has a place in the world, and and following a certain regiment to get things done, a certain system. But then when you are coming from an authentic place and you are principled and you have integrity, and that is being challenged by the disruption of that other side, that was where he was having the conflict. How does
Yeah,
he how
of
does he
course.
kind of how does he find his true self without being brought to anger or saying something that would not be beneficial? So it is an interesting situation where um, their integrity has been causing it. And
Yeah,
I mean it but if you really understand reality, in siblings you have one that's a little bit, gets away with things, and the other one that doesn't. So but this is that balance, finding the harmony and the balance without having to give up entirely who you are. And that is
yeah,
where, you know finding our true space and
exactly.
being
And
true.
I had some interesting moments in my work life, right? Because I always try to do my best because that for me is because I did accept I'm going to be here. I signed for being here. We are going to meet each other. It doesn't mean that I'm going to obey everything. So when I encounter something, I may actually go and speak up. And that can be challenging thing sometimes because a lot of people actually fear if I'm going to state something, then I maybe risk losing my job, right? So it comes to
Yes.
conflict. Um, on the other hand, I did encounter something in my work life that I said, I came to the edge, so to speak, and I said to myself,
Yes.
okay, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to state exactly what I feel about this. And if they will be angry with me, they will.
Yes.
And I said it to my boss and the boss above him because we had some issues going on. And I said to my boss, you can have a personal opinion about this thing, but you are not entitled to tell me what union I'm going to belong to or not. That's not up to you because freedom here in this
Yes.
country to be where we are. It doesn't mean that I'm going to fight you. And I said to him, you know me, but I'm not taking that from you. You can't tell me where to belong.
And that's when you start being authentic and you start living from your own truth. You know the difference between something that is just uh, petty, that you just, well, I don't like the color of that, and stuff like that, and to where it's really has to do with your integrity being
Yeah,
challenged. um, I had a situation in my life. I had forever been given this dream of becoming what I was told that I came here to do in my profession. And even though I moved away from my teacher, um, for correct reasons that I couldn't be around, and I had gotten back with my teacher, and I was on the brink of being able to accomplish the final step in my training. And I was invited to come and to assist her in what she was doing. And then I knew in my heart that that final piece would be something that I would achieve. Well, as we began the class, I saw that over the years that my teacher had lost the integrity in what she was teaching. And I stayed for 2 days, and I was trying to comply to her new approach, but it was completely contrary to the truths that had been given to me and to what I knew in my soul. And I had to walk away. And I have now lived many, many years with that one piece missing. But there is no way that I could live with myself hearing how what she was saying was so against everything that she had said before, just in order to fit in. And
yeah,
I had to walk away. And there are going to be times, whether it's a job or a relationship, where there is something in your gut that just says, this isn't going to work. I mean, I can go here, here, and here, and here, but I can't do that next thing. And learning to trust your authentic self, I think, allows you to live more gently and more in harmony
yeah,
when you are dealing with things that you do have to uh, comply with. And
exactly. And it becomes easier, as I said in the beginning. And it's very easy to state that, to say that. But the easiness in this case is that you feel powerful within yourself, powerful enough to say that, okay, no, I can't comply to that. That's out of the
exactly,
question. That's not me. But I can
exactly,
comply to these 95 things, but not those five. That's
yes,
out of the question. And I think when I talk to people, I usually state it a little bit differently, but I say, I call it like always, also our values, right?
hmm,
But many times, what we think are our values may be opinions opposed on us or
yes,
things we have learned. So when we are peeling off all those extra things we don't need to become more authentic, it
correct,
means
yeah,
that probably it's probably only a handful of very sacred for us sacred values, right?
Yes.
So yes, it becomes way easier. And we are not always totally fearless, but we don't so easily slide into fear.
That's very correct. And when you really start feeling that you are connected to your divine essence, to a connection that is higher than just relationships, that doesn't give you support superiority. It actually the ego takes a vacay, and because it's no longer saying, yeah, but if you don't wear that, people are going to judge you. If you wear that, people are going to, and everything else. We're not weighed down by all those things. And as you said also, but being authentic does not give you the right and the freedom to go around lambasting everybody else that have
No,
different ways, because we're coming from a high love of ourself. And I would no longer do that to someone else because I would be doing it to myself. And
exactly.
I mean, that's very basic, but we didn't come here to knock down the pegs, but we came here maybe to when we do oppose something that needs to be opposed, we do it in a way that, like they say in Japan, where everyone saves face. And then we can have a discussion about it. And maybe that particular thing needs to be revised, and it evolves. And that's the thing. But being authentic is not licensed to go out and just knock down everybody that you don't think is authentic, because that's not being authentic.
No, that's not being authentic at all. That's putting on an attitude, a bad
Exactly.
attitude, to be honest. Because when we go into our authentic self, we are digging into the deepest love there is
Hmm.
in this world.
Yes.
That means that even though we are not complying or accepting or feeling in alignment with someone or what they are saying or doing, it doesn't mean we judge them.
Correct.
We
And
don't.
yeah, I love the way that you said in here this expression, compassionate integrity.
Yeah,
Because without compassion, you know but I love the way that you brought that in and expressed it.
thank you. But you are expressing that too. You say something like, to be truly authentic, you're not coming from ego, you expressing the attitude of it's my way or no way. You don't, right?
No.
Rather, with understanding and love, we may be able to change some things that need to be changed and enhance other things that are for humanity's highest good, right? It's a teamwork, it's cooperation, but
Yes.
also the more people that are coming to become their authentic self, the easier that thing is going to be, because we realize I have my way doing it, you have your way doing it, someone else has a third way doing it. That's not
Yes.
going to be our way. But together we can conquer a lot of things
It
because we
is.
see things differently, right?
Yes, and because as you have said, when we are faced with something that needs to be changed, you're more creative. You can solve things when you're coming from a higher place than just, well, that doesn't work and we're going to do this. And using that creativity that comes from integrity,
Yeah,
then it changes everything. And that there
that's
again we
right.
go back to self-love.
Yes, But self-love is the basis, because when you have self-love, you're not relying on or fearing, like you talked before, right? What is everybody else is going to say? They can
Mhm.
say whatever they want. I'm
Yep,
going to hear it if they have something that they think that I have to correct for myself. I may consider it, but I'm not going to do it automatically. But I'm not going to hold grudges against them for it, right?
correct, correct. Uh,
So there we have a difference, right?
and I have been listening to Brene Brown, and she talks a lot about vulnerability and how when we put ourselves out there, we're being vulnerable, but we're stepping out. We have the courage to at least step out and be seen. And after she did a TED talk, uh, she told herself she wasn't going to look at the criticism, but then she got things, and people were saying like, "Well, you need to lose weight." Oh, and I mean, really hateful things. And she said, "This is going to happen because social media has is a platform for a lot of people to just, open their big mouths with no thought." And she said, "However," she said, "if those people are not willing to get in the arena and fail and then get up and then keep on going, then their opinions have no bearing over me whatsoever. Everybody can sit and watch a football game and, well, the quarterback should have done this. Well, the coach is this and everything else. Well, get off your seat. You know what I'm saying? And go out there and
Yeah,
see what you're going to do when you're facing a 350-pound linebacker coming at you. Let, you know, put yourself in there and let me see what when you get squashed. So
yeah,
that's the difference when we do
yeah.
go and seek other people's opinion. You have to know the person that you're seeking it, and know where their
Exactly,
integrity is.
because exactly, because the person, each and every one of us are acting also like a filter, because we come from our past and our experiences, and we
Mhm.
determine things usually from that point. But who can determine what is failure or success for someone else?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, you hear often, you can't judge me unless you've walked in my shoes, and that literally means you may have a similar experience, but you're not feeling the same emotions, and you're not coming from the same
Correct.
background. You may stub your toe, but it has a different meaning to you because of what your life has been like than it is somebody else. So going back to learning to trust yourself, it doesn't come from just blind, okay, I'm perfect and everything I say and do is this. It comes from really knowing who you are, getting rid of opinions that do not matter, getting rid of belief systems that say, if you don't wear a hat when you go to church, you're going to go to hell. I mean, these are things that if they're not serving you, then you need to just kiss them, bless them, and let them go. And
Yes,
then you can live in compliance. You can live in harmony. You can find a road that is comfortable for you to be traveling with other people.
exactly. And that is absolutely beautiful. And it simplifies so many things.
Hmm.
Like Bob says, right? We haven't been here with him for a while. I think he's doing good, but he's having a little longer pause, right? For everybody listening. But he
Hmm.
says, keep it simple, sovereign. I like
Yes,
that.
yes, and it's interesting because him being British influence, sovereignty is the one thing in our vernacular. It was keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, sweetie. So I mean, wherever it comes from, it still means the same thing. And when we start bringing in scrambled thoughts and they're not clear, not focused, and authenticity helps you focus and get rid of that clutter. Therefore, you can come to an easier, and I say the word easier, conclusion,
Yeah, easier.
because you've gone through all the riffraff and cleaned house, so to speak, and then you can see where you need to put your focus.
Exactly. And you know, living authentically means to be honest with yourself and others.
Hmm.
And that means that almost everything can be said, but you don't go with an aggressive attitude when you don't agree with someone, right? And
Yes,
you also honor yourself, like we said before. So you know that certain things may actually go so against your values and who you are that you can't just keep doing them. So that puts you in the place of a choice, right?
hmm,
Because you know, I always call those choices like T crosses, right? Instead of having
yes,
four roads to choose from. So you can't go back, you can't move forward. You need to make a choice. So it's going to be either. Um, Many people can see that as something negative, but it's not because you can't keep on doing the same thing. That, in essence, it means there's a change needed,
there's a change needed.
right?
And I love what the philosophers say. The definition of crazy is doing the same thing and keep expecting a different result. And as you said, you've got to come to the conclusion that, well, I've done this 5,092 times the exact same way, and I'm not getting there. So maybe I need to change how I approach it. And um, I love that expression because people will, especially when you and I are talking to people that are going through stuff, and they will say maybe they've changed a different name on the person that they're now involved with, but it's the same story. Why don't they call? What did I do wrong? How can I get them to comply to what I want them to do? And it's like you want to kind of go, maybe change your tactics. Maybe come from a different
But here,
perspective.
yeah, and and that is interesting because you know I want a change in my situation in life, but
Yes,
I want the other person to change. I don't
exactly.
want to change. I don't want to
Ex-
work on myself.
yes,
But I can't make, how can I make the other person change? I can't. There's no way. They will
no,
use their free will and do it if they want to. But what can I do?
yes,
Okay. If I don't like where I am,
yeah,
maybe I need to consider embracing some sort
yeah,
of change
yes.
because
After my
otherwise I'm going to be stuck
it,
in a loop. That's going to be
exactly,
the same thing, same pattern.
yes. After my divorce, um, I didn't just go out because I don't need to have someone in my life. I choose to have someone in my life, and so I dated a little while, and I realized after I dated this person for quite a while that I asked him to do something very simple. I love to dance. And I said, we've been invited to this Christmas party and it's the place where we can dance. And he made a very derogative comment about dancing. Oh, people only dance because they just want to feel you up. And I love dance. I love the flow and everything else. And something just went off, light went off. And it goes, dancing is very much a part of who I am. And it's an expression of myself. This was before I even knew about self love or awareness or anything else. But something triggered and said, I am dating the same persona that I was married to. And I'm not going to be able to look for a different persona until I work on myself. And I did. I started realizing the things that worked for me and didn't work for me. And but it it takes courage to look inside and
It,
say, I need to change.
yeah, it takes a lot of courage, but if we see it from a different perspective, maybe now we have perspectives,
Yes.
different angles, right? So, because I've been there too, it took me, when I divorced, it took me 3 years to come to that place. Um, because I wanted the change. Didn't expect everybody else around to change just like that. But what I tried to, my approach was I was trying to do something about it and fix it with some sort of togetherness. But if you're not going to be heard, how can you work together and solve something that one party thinks that we need to solve? So it didn't come to that place. But I realized that staying in the same thing with no action, that means that nothing is going to change. I can change myself, and that's what I did at the end of it, right? And I
Yes.
started to try to talk and figure out things. Can I continue like this, or do I need to take some steps of some sort
Yes.
for myself, right? And it can feel really very, very scary because we know what we have. We can never be sure of what we're going to have in the future. We know what we
Exactly.
are presently having. At the same time, going through the same day out, day in, week out, week in, month out, month in, year out, year in. No,
Yes.
it's like we are being pushed. And there's another. I like to see it like something, when we try to become aware of ourselves, we work on ourselves and we dig into our authentic self. When we are going against ourselves, and this is my experience, if you think of a corner, it's like when I refuse to change my response to something or some circumstances or make some sort of changes, but I do long for them. I crave them somehow. I urge them, but I'm afraid of making them. The
Hmm.
next time it's going to come on me harder. And if time goes by, at the end I'm going to feel like I'm stuck in the corner with no air to breathe because I need to do something about it.
Yes. And when you start, I think everything in life kind of moves us to a point where we make that choice of going left or going right.
Yeah,
It's no longer we're now butting our heads up against a dead end, so we have to go left or we have to go right. And there again, the fear that controls us. And the more authentic you become, you start realizing that fear is only a comma. It just gives
yeah,
you a chance to pause for a minute and then take a breath and then come up with a different way of doing something. So that comes again from being authentic. The same is, I mean, in a marriage or a relationship, how much compliance do you have when you join your life with someone else? That is where again we have this, okay, I can live with this and I can live with that, and that's just a minor irritation, and that person is having to live with my little minor irritations. However, this situation, every time I go into that particular situation with this person, my stomach hurts. my body
Yeah.
hurts, then it's telling you that this is not what is the best for your highest self. And this is where I think we're always going, is to be reconnected with that divinity within ourselves that we didn't even know we had.
Exactly. And on another note, relationships in general are brilliant to act as a mirror to see yourself.
Oh boy, yes. Yes.
Not always comfortable, but we always are having the possibility and the opportunity to see something and say, can I comply to that or not? Do I feel in alignment with that? Is that
Yes.
way over the top crossing my values?
Yes.
Or is it something I can compromise with? Because we do need sometimes to make some compromises. Otherwise, we would live in a on a mountaintop somewhere all by ourselves, right? And we
Exactly.
are social creatures. But it's about, are you giving away everything of yourself and adapting, or are you picking and choosing? Because we have that right too, without judging, right?
Yeah. And it's
Without
funny
judging.
because after I was out of my marriage, I literally I go, I can write my own book now. I can write my own story. And I realized, that I had given up music and art and creativity and my wit. Uh, I do have a kind of a little wit that just kind of pops out every now and then. And I was basically told to be quiet. And I'm going, who was I? I was trying to build up, I was trying to live his illusion of what I should be. And it's interesting because he chose me over everyone else because I was different. And then once we got into the relationship, he didn't want to live with that. And this occasionally happens. But the more that I became, especially after the divorce, I realized that I didn't even know who I was. And that began my journey into finding out who is this persona, and what it is that I came here to do. And
Yeah.
but if I hadn't lived in that situation, I would have never had it. So life gives us complexities, gives us where we have to compromise, where we have to comply, where we have to surrender, where we have to release. And if we do that as a wooden ship in the ocean, and we are in this overwhelming experience, and we're tossed and we're turned, and then sometimes it's smooth sailing. But if we hold together because we know ourselves, because we love ourselves, we can
Yeah,
we can weather that. And wow, we evolve into something that is just awesome.
exactly. I have received the question from many people, usually women. Um, so how can what do I need to do to get this person, man, to be attracted to me, to come to me? What do I need to do? What do I need to change? Right? So adapting to something because you think that someone else is going to give you whatever you need, right? That goes
Yes.
back to self-love.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of when we meet someone, we are usually attracted by things that, like your ex-husband, right? You were different. I think he was really attracted to you because he could see a lot of things that he wasn't used to.
Yes.
But then a part of him wanted you to come all the way over on to his way of seeing things, and he being the one steering things, right? But that's
Yeah.
not a good ground for a relationship to work, because we need to meet each other.
No.
Sometimes I come all the way to you, other times you come all the way to me, but most of the time somewhere in the middle we are going to meet each
Yeah.
other because we need to, right?
And yes, and being able to really understand that maybe what you're dealing with, maybe that you need to look at it from a different perspective. And I was coaching a young lady, and the keywords that she kept saying were, "He's my person, and I'm supposed to be with him." Now, this person said, "Get the H out of my life. I don't want to be around you. Go away," and has not contacted her in months and months and months. But she keeps saying, "I know energetically we're supposed to be together, and he's my person, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make myself what he wants me to be." And I'm thinking, if I wrote information on how to be the most disastrous thing that you could do to yourself, I'd probably say conform conform to everything you think that he wants, because that he's telling you that there's something that's not working. But to be that
Yeah.
um you know, dogmatic, that's not healthy.
No, it's not. And it's not going to bring anything good from it either. It's going to create a lot of tension in the end
Yes.
because of different reasons, right? So,
Yes.
um, I have a few things here where we can find keys to where authenticity meets compliance.
Okay.
Do you want us to talk about those? So,
Absolutely, because
first of all, authenticity and compliance may seem to be very opposite from each other, to pull us in opposite directions, right?
Mhm.
So, how can we stay true to ourselves while respecting rules and being our authentic selves, not obeying what we think is assumed, expected of us, so that we can have someone? It goes basically in the same area, right? So,
Uh-huh.
the key is to blending the two, right? First
Mhm.
of all, open communication. Be honest about your needs and boundaries. No one is going to ever be able to guess exactly what you want. But
Ah.
at the same time, be open to hearing others' perspectives, right?
Mhm.
For
Exactly.
example, expressing your authentic feelings about a family tradition doesn't mean you have to dismiss it outright, right? Instead, you can find ways to participate meaningfully in your own way while
Mhm.
staying true to yourself. So
Correct.
we always have options. Nothing is ever black or white. We have all the grays in between, right?
Mhm.
We tend to forget about them.
Yes.
And compassion, this is what you said before, compassionate integrity.
Yes.
Align your authentic self with principles of kindness and fairness. This ensures that your actions reflect both your values and respect for those around you, right?
And that's the key.
Plus a third one. Yes, these are three keys, all of them. Create problem solving. Sometimes rules and norms may challenge your personal values. When this happens, seek innovative, I can't say the word, ways to honor both. For
Mhm.
instance, if you individually conflicts with a dress code, you could comply while adding subtle personal touches that reflect your style. And that's a very easy example, right? But there are always ways, and this also is something good. It brings us to use our creative mind, not to
Yes.
get stuck in a form of something, right?
Yes. It's interesting you talk about dress codes. Um, and I think of the first Supreme Court justice that we ever had that was a woman. And I mean she was fantastic. Her life story is amazing. And here you got this big black robe. So what she did is she had little collars made that she could put on the robe,
Yeah.
and started wearing different things that she was complying, but she was adding that little personal touch, and it became kind of her signature move. And because I'm sure that they didn't say you have to appear in black and everything else, it just that was just what the norm was. And so she just very gently just started little things. Now, there again with clothing, if you're working in a situation where what you're wearing, like wearing big fat heavy boots, is going to save your toes, then by gosh you better do that and not wear your moccasins or your flip-flops. So I mean, there again, when you're coming from your authentic self, you have that ability to see a different perspective, and to be true to yourself, but also to honor the truths of others.
Exactly. And coming back to that funny thing again, we talked about values, right?
Oh yeah.
And some people may think that they have, oh, I have 1,000 values. To be honest, and I'm usually, straightforward. No one has 1,000 core values. There are
No.
usually opinions, there are things we have been taught, things we learned. So when we
Right.
are digging through all of these opinions and things that we think are ours, where does it come from? Uh, did it come from my family, from a spouse I had, from, whatever, from my life experience? Does it belong to me? So, practical tips for balance: know your values, take time to reflect on what matters most to you, right? Usually we end up with a handful. When you're clear on your core values, it's easier to navigate rules without losing yourself, right? Because
Very
you
much so.
know who you are and what your values are. Stay curious. Understand the why behind rules or social expectations. And like you
Hmm.
said, it is a little bit silly to think that I'm going to wear my flip-flops if I'm risking hurting my feet because I need those boots, right?
Yes, yes.
So some things are there also to protect us. Not everything is there to make our life miserable, right?
Correct.
So so when you are clear on no, so when you understand the why behind things, often knowing the reasoning can help you to find ways to align compliance with authenticity. So you can take it on and you understand, right? You can see
Yes.
beyond perspective. I love that. Practice flexibility. Balance requires give and take. Be adaptable when necessary without compromising the essence of who you are. Because if we are narrow minded and very stuck, that is for me, not a very smart way to use stubbornness,
No.
because that's going to lead to not so good experiences, right? We need to also we need to be flexible, right?
Very much so. Yes.
Yes.
And all of these things that you're bringing into this, um, this is going to help you live in harmony. And I think of our relationship. You come at things from a total different angle than I do. And yet when we merge, and when we want to have that balance and we're looking for that harmony, even coming at it from a different point of view, we're still saying the same thing. And I think that is what life is all about, is merging all of these different points of view. And I love what you said here about living in harmony. Um, and so I'm going to let you finish with that one about when the authenticity meets compliance. It does
Yes.
create that. Yes.
Do you want me
Being both.
to say it?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes, I want you to say it. It's your words.
So living in harmony, when authenticity meets compliance, it creates a life that's both genuine and grounded, right? You are
Yes.
there in the present moment as well, which is
Yes.
so important. It's
Yes.
about finding ways to live truthfully while contributing positively to your relationships and community, because we are team
And
as
we are a
well.
team.
By embracing this balance, you can navigate life's complexities with confidence and clarity, staying true to yourself while making the world around you a little brighter, right? It's not
Absolutely.
always my way or the highway, because this is not about that. That's
No.
going to bring us to a place where we don't want to be in, right? We need to be here, share experiences. And I love you for, we come from different angles. So at the end of every show we do and conversation we have, even outside of this, we always get a broad and wonderful and bright picture, don't we?
Yes. And I honor the fact that I have found somebody, you, that does come from your authentic self. That and when I use the expression I see you, that's what I mean. I'm not looking at your outside. I'm looking at your ability to be flexible, your ability to comprehend that we're on a road, we're going in a direction where something is coming out of, we're evolving. And it's not just hardcore, it's throwing all of these things into the pot and creating this beautiful tapestry and this beautiful aroma that we create, called living life. And it's never dull, and it's never the same. And we can maybe say the same words many times because they need to be said, but we're always adding a new spice, a new idea, a new dimension. And this has created for me the most delightful experience I've ever had. Thank you.
And thank you too. And I love that you taught me that thing. Instead of saying I love you, I say I see you, I honor
Yes.
you, I treasure you, I admire you. And that is more beautiful to see someone, because we want to be seen as people, right? I have a
Hmm.
funny story actually. It's my mom. She she have told me multiple times, there's no use of telling you what to do because you're always going to do what you think is best anyway. And I answer each and every time, yeah, you got that correct.
Yes. But you have to
I
put it.
am the one making choices. Yes,
Yeah. We have to put the information in, and then discern it, and then how does it fit, and then we can go from there, rather than just pick up with your right hand, put it into left hand, now post the button, and everything else, because we are not robots. We are divine, unique human beings, and each thing that we have to offer may not be for everybody. But out there in the universe, there may be one person that may hear one sentence that is going to give them a clue to where they need to go next. And we're going to be talking about
exactly.
Celestine prophecy. And that's basically what it's all about too, is being flexible enough and understanding enough to be in the moment and to appreciate what is being said at that moment. And
Yeah.
oh,
Not,
what an adventure!
yeah, and not stepping into fear when we maybe at a certain moment in time don't know exactly what to do. Take that time. It doesn't need to be forever because there are other patterns that are preventing us. So when we hold back, when we are
Right,
refusing to make a decision, and that's not good either, but we don't need to stress, right? We don't need to rush. If we feel it in, we go within ourselves and we see our options. We can hear opinions, we can take them in. We don't necessarily need to use them, right? That's
correct.
another story. And I love the Celestine prophecy. We are going to start in May to stream the Celestine prophecy. There are 12 insights,
Yep.
and I started off the year 2000 with digging into those with a group of women here, spiritual women in Rhodes. So that's kind of I say that that's when I started my conscious
Oh, yep.
um, journey, when I put in the effort to dig within.
Hmm.
So that's beautiful for me. But we also, at the end, we're going to have a sum up if we can. 12 insights
Oh,
as a summary, but I think we can actually do that. So we are planning to do it twice a month because there are so many insights, so we can keep it within this year, right?
uh-huh.
That's going to be wonderful. It's going to be exciting because there are so many things to think about. For me, the Celestine prophecy, it stands for seeing the energy, feeling in the energy, working with the energy, and that means synchronicities, digging within, hearing yourself, synchronicities, coincidences that are not coincidences, right? So
Uh-huh.
how it functions as a universe,
Yeah.
right?
And I think everything that we've been doing for the past year, um, the little observations that we have made that can allow a person to look deeper within themselves and to not have that fear of looking deep. I think these were in preparation for now. How do we put them into application? You know, so
Yeah, exactly. And that's exciting, to be honest. Well, do you think that we are rounding up?
well, as always, I think that we have rounded, we have squared, we have triangled. I think that as always, every subject that we tackle is going to come up now every time we get together. So it just seems to be that that we're weaving this wonderful example of life, and it's not just one thing. It's such a beautiful combination of all the different things that allow you to maybe go this direction or that direction. And this is the freedom that we're talking about. The freedom to step into something else. Try it on. If it fits, wear it. If it doesn't fit, give it to someone else. And that's the
Exactly.
beauty.
Yeah. And there's no such a thing as failure, right?
Oh no.
Those who eventually succeed with something, they tried it out so many times. It doesn't mean that they consider that they failed. They're
Nope.
going to keep on until they make it, if they feel that this is for me. It
Yep.
depends on how we feel for things. Sometimes we do see, oh, this is not my journey or my road to take that path, right? I have to go here. So if we are authentic, we feel that in, we know. But there's no such a thing as failure. Never.
It just you find a lot of ways that it didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out. So, yeah.
exactly. And that's kind of intriguing too, right?
Yeah.
So, am I wrapping it up?
Yes, you are, ma'am.
Thank you. You are exquisite, and I'm so honored to be here with you. That's one thing I want to say. So thank you. And we
Mhm.
are more than a year now on air together, and I just love that. Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody, thank you all for watching us and listening to us. And you have been watching Cosmic Sisters show with Corinne and Anne, and today we have been talking about authenticity meets compliance. You can find all past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming past. There are links there to YouTube. So for each video, you can find the link. It's basically a list on that page. So you can scroll, find all episodes. And for Facebook, they are removing from February, they are removing the new ones. So they only allow us to have them up for 30 days and then they are gone. But old episodes are going to be until um, end of June or 1st of July. So you can find everything, but it's all up there and we have it on YouTube as well. Our next upcoming show here on Cosmic Sisters show is next Wednesday, April 16th, and we will talk about vibrations within, unveiling the impact of energy. How about that? And we do go live for you every Wednesday in US and Europe. And you can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episode, read articles, find Kareen and more at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. And you can find Kareen at liquidenergyhealing.com as well. You can call Kareen at 480-250 1815, or you can email Corrine at lqenergy@yahoo.com. So sorry, every Tuesday, if you are in Phoenix or Mesa area, you have an open heart meditation. So you
Mhm.
gather people and you create this wonderful energy digging deep within. This is something very special and exciting. It is something you need to go to you to attend to. You're not doing it kind of
No, not
across the
doing that
globe.
live. Not doing that on video. Yeah.
Yeah, it maybe that's coming in the future, but for now, but you experience something very unique and special. So try it out, please. Connect with Karine. Okay,
Yes. Thank you.
thank you. And as usual, I say love, light, peace, and joy to all of you.
Hmm.
What do you say?
Well, I just say love, light, peace, and laughter. Laughter gets me through everything.
Yeah, me too. Laughter is a wonderful medicine. It's
Yes.
beautiful. I see you and I see you all.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.